All right, coming at you from Los Angeles, California, and on Bradley's end, Odessa, Texas. Mike coming at you from Astro in a joint production with BadBoy Tarot. How are you doing today, Bradley?
Kicking ass and taking names, my brother.
Hell yeah. So this would be my second time having you on Astro, and I have to say, I'm proud to have you back.
Very, very happy to be back. Been looking forward.
So we got some really interesting stuff coming today. Big Bad Mercury Retrograde just started today, which is like, I think, honestly, many astrologers will tell you that Mercury retrograde gets a little bit over-exaggerated, but just from what I've experienced over the past couple Mercury retrogrades, I've come to hate that transit with a passion because I don't like speed bumps, and Mercury retrograde has a tendency, depending on the house that it's transiting through, provides plenty of opportunities for speed bumps. A lot of fuck
well,
up.
my cancer ass, I'm just not looking forward to the calls from the exes because I get my feelings all caught back up and shit. So.
Well, I've seen your chart before though, and Mercury retrograde is transiting your 11th house.
Yeah.
So luckily, I think the whole ex is getting back to you. That's not going to be as much of an issue for you, thank God.
Hell no, I got them all blocked now, baby.
Yeah. Now, like, I had Mercury retrograde going through my 7th house. See, that's really important, is like where it is in your chart, what house it's transiting. That's where you're going to feel a lot of the effects of the type of bullshit that Mercury retrograde seems to cause. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're doing another predictive joint astrology tarot predictive collaboration extravaganza. And I'll be going through Mercury retrograde through the houses, and then we'll be kind of doing a little bit of pulling cards, a little bit of, shooting the shit over each of those particular transits. All you got to do is look at your chart and go to or go to astro.com or use SolarFire or what have you. And in this particular retrograde, Mercury is going to be transiting through Cancer. So you just find out what house Cancer occupies in your chart. Yes, I see the Rider weight deck is really, really colorful. But you just gotta
I'm looking off the fucking reflection, and I don't know. I had a card. There it is.
The
Cancer. Going through
the area. Yeah. So you just got to check out what house Mercury is transiting through while it goes retrograde, and that's going to give you a pretty good clue as to the type of bullshit that Mercury retrograde can cause. It's not always the worst. Some people really don't have bad Mercury retrogrades. Some people don't really feel it as much. When you have Mercury retrograde natal in your chart, it usually doesn't cause as much of an issue for you because you're used to your life being kind of fucked up. No, they say that it's actually really positive for people that already have Mercury retrograde in the chart, and that's a pretty high percentage of the population. But for most of normal people, like I've got Mercury direct. Is yours direct or retrograde?
Mine's direct.
Okay. It causes
like 4 or 5 planets retrograde, though, in my natal. I know the sun and moon both were retrograde.
Sun and moon? That's not even possible.
I know.
You're an anomaly. I actually have one of those weird charts that has literally no retrograde planets whatsoever. Absolutely none.
Yeah, none.
None.
Born under some good signs. All right.
Hopefully. I mean.
Oh, all your fuck ups are just you.
Exactly. It's my fault. All my fault.
Yeah, blame the goddamn stars and the planets.
All right. So, yeah, you just check out your chart. You see where Mercury's transiting, what house it's going through, and I will be providing timestamps down at the bottom so that you can quickly, shuffle through the podcast if you don't want to, listen to the other houses and just zoom in on what you want to hear. Also, I'll be providing information on how to contact Bradley via BadBoy Tarot. So if you would like a personal reading, and he is fantastic at giving them, you will be offered the opportunity to get one. And of course, as always, I'll be providing links to contact myself as well, because I always offer consultations. I offer teaching sessions, whatever I can do to help anybody who's interested in expanding their knowledge of metaphysical subjects through the astrological perspective.
And so he's great responding to drunk texts and booty calls. So
I do. No, I don't. I ignore the fucking shit out of that. Anyway, I'm all business. I'm pretty good about that.
That's good. Don't dip your pen in the company ink.
Don't dip your dick in a diseased pussy. Never mind. Okay.
Goes without saying, bro.
All right. So
some people do that.
You have a Cancer rising, and that would mean that Mercury retrograde is transiting through your first house. So Mercury retrograde in the first house. So the first house is all about how you project yourself into the world. It's all about your physical appearance. It's all about your body and your sense of yourself. And it has a lot to do with the ego as well. So Mercury retrograde in the first house, I wouldn't say is that bad of a placement, but self-esteem issues can crop up. Things could happen that could make you feel somehow less than capable, less than able to do what you need to do to exert yourself in a healthy manner. And with Cancer risings being relatively sensitive as it is, it can be a little bit, I don't know, it can make you feel pretty down, unfortunately. But it's a good time to reevaluate where you're getting your self-esteem from. It can be a good time to evaluate how to project yourself more effectively in the world as an individual. Like, am I being effective in a day-to-day life? Like, am I being effective in my day-to-day interactions with other people? Am I projecting myself as being independent? Am I too dependent on other people? Like, Mercury retrograde is going to kind of like gently remind you that sometimes you need to be your own fucking person. And so that's a lot of what that particular transit's about. It's not that rough. In certain houses, it's a lot worse, but this one, it's a lot of it's about self-esteem, honestly. So
I mean, like, first house, that has a lot to do with the psyche, inner child type situation.
Yeah, it's related to Aries.
So, I mean, in retrograde, how I don't know, the best way it's been described to me is just like shit that you've been putting off and not dealing with. It's time, like, when the Mercury retrograde, it's like you're pretty much forced to confront that shit.
That, and also Mercury retrograde has this weird way of like throwing a monkey wrench into everything. It's just like I'll talk about I've already been having bullshit pop up from Mercury retrograde, which inspired me to make this video or do this collaboration. All right, so pull some cards for the first house. So if you are going through Mercury retrograde through your first house, you've got.
I got the Eight of Cups.
Okay.
Eight of Cups. Funny because this is one of the few cards. This actually has an eclipse on the card, and we just went through the eclipse.
We'll have another one.
So when we pull this card, it's actually about it's usually depicted or indicative of a relationship, whether it be romantic, work, and you just can't seem to get things right. Things just aren't working. There's a chemical imbalance. So you got all your cups lined up. Sometimes it's just the best thing to do is just to walk away. No closure. You've done what you can. None of the cups are overturned. As they are in some of the more negative cards, more macabre cards, I guess. I wouldn't say any of them are negative. They're all dual. But this is where, you've done what you can. You can't do anything about it. It's time to move on. Just move on gracefully.
Don't let it affect your sense of who you are.
Right.
It's not your fault. It's not because you're not the best person you can be. That's where the big thing's coming up.
This is all about releasing and just letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore.
Boy, no.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're still your own man. You're still your own person. So, what?
Walk away.
Boy,
it's not working. Walk away.
All right, so Mercury retrograde in the second house. That one's fucked. That's what I'm dealing with right now. Because I'm a Gemini rising, Cancer occupies my second house. Issues related to finances. Issues related to self-esteem, and the way that Mercury operates on a very tangible level. I've got coffee grounds on my tongue. Ugh. Mercury operates. Huh?
I love that. I used to snort coffee when I was locked up.
We did too. Not the best.
Yeah.
We'd mix it with tramadol. Anyway.
Yep.
And Kool-Aid. The powdered Kool-Aid. Anyway. So Mercury retrograde in the second house is going to be kind of a bitch. I think it's one of the worst ones. Now, it can come through in a variety of ways, but the way it's come through for me personally, and I'm just gonna take a fucking minute to vent. I have had all of my funds locked up in payment facilitators, like completely, all of my money. I can't get through to any of it. That's pretty second housey. Like all my finances have been tied up with various banks, PayPal, Coinbase, Cash App. I've been having nothing but like just especially over the past day since Mercury retrograde has started, I've had nothing but issues reaching my money, reaching my finances. So, unfortunately, this could be a situation where you're just having money problems pop up, like unexpected expenses. Um, I would say things breaking, but not necessarily like in the third house or 11th house way where it's like electronic and communications related, but more of like things breaking that are expensive that you need or that cost a lot of money, second house kind of stuff. Having to make expensive home repairs. Having your money fucking locked up by a financial system that just wants to hold on to your shit so they can keep it and gain interest on it while you're fucking sitting here with your thumb up your ass. Sorry, I'm a little heated over that still.
I don't blame you.
So it's not the funnest place to have Mercury retrograde, but of course it's usually just something that will get played out over time. It's more of that's the thing. Mercury retrograde is just hella inconvenient. It's not like catastrophic usually, unless you react to it in a way that brings about catastrophe. It's all about how you react to your situation. So pull out Mercury retrograde, second house.
Got it. As I was shuffling, this one jumped out, and I think this is just fucking perfect. I pulled the Six of Pentacles reversed. When we get it upright, that means good things are coming to you financially. Like investments are paying off. Investments are paying off. Like I know you've invested into Bitcoin. Maybe the stock prices rise up, or whatever. Reverse. This means that you're actually recouping. Like you're recouping from some kind of financial something. Yeah. This is direct. I mean, this is absolutely financial. You see this man, like you have two beggars, and he's got a scale in one hand, and he's giving away coin to the other with the other hand. This one, so it's not completely negative, but it's you coming out of a negative situation. So you need to recoup. You need to rebuild. Put some more money in your savings account. Always remember to, whenever you get a paycheck, pay yourself first. Always pay yourself first. Put some money in your savings account. Don't go spending money on shit that you don't need. Get yourself back to a situation where you have something to fall back on. This is absolutely monetary right here. You need to just recoup. Don't be giving away money. Don't be spending money you don't have. Don't even be spending money you have. Save your fucking money.
Yeah, and it goes really well with this because there was just a solar eclipse, and there's going to be a lunar eclipse on the 16th, and that begins the solar eclipse represents the beginning of a cycle that usually takes 6 months to complete until there's another set of eclipses in Cancer or in Capricorn. So it does tend to create a little bit of a crisis occasionally that you have to deal with. So Mercury retrograding in the same sign that these eclipses are occurring in is definitely going to heighten the bullshit that Mercury retrograde brings about. And it is important to really reevaluate how you're handling your finances, the types, because like some of the things that are happening with my personal situation, the lockups and stuff like that, they're because of little small mistakes I made in the past that I didn't think would actually create any kind of consequential issue in the future, but they did. So it's reevaluating how you've been handling your finances, recouping from loss, and it's a lesson. It's a lesson that's going to help you in the long run. It's just creating a lot of bullshit for you now, but that's how you fucking learn. You learn from having issues crop up and having to deal with them, because that discomfort, it locks it all into your fucking brain. Hey, I need to do something better and different next time so this doesn't happen again.
Right.
So, third
up. I'm saying, put some money in your savings account. Don't fucking say, oh, well, I got the money I was supposed to have and I was able to get by, so now don't look at it like extra money. It's not extra money. Save that money. Don't.
Third house.
Third house. Ooh.
This is the fun one. This is the one that this social media addicted culture that we live in is going to probably hate the most. This is arguments. This is the I apologize for the things I said during Mercury retrograde type energy. This is you breaking your fucking phone. Is going through some, Facebook stalking somebody and accidentally hitting like on one of their photos from 2 years ago, and they get the notification. Yeah.
What the fuck? This bitch.
That happens to that happens to me a lot. I'll get somebody that liked one of my photos from 2016 randomly, and I'll be like, "What the fuck?
Why? Did that pop up on a news feed? What the fuck?
Yeah, this is the taking something the wrong way and reacting in a way that's totally out of proportion for the situation, and you realize, oh, it was a whole misunderstanding.
Like some Aries moon shit, huh?
Yeah. Why speed when you can speed to conclusions?
That's right.
Yeah. So this is just a very, and it's something that can easily be fixed. I mean, you can go get a new fucking phone. If you have insurance on your phone, just get a new phone. Yeah, say sorry, but pull a card, homie.
All right. I wasn't prepared. I felt like I needed to shuffle since that last one jumped out at me, but I feel like this one right here. Ooh. All right. Well, I went ahead and pulled the tower because
Think before you act. Oh my God.
Tower.
Poor Mercury retrograde in the third house. Pull a clarifier for that one, dude.
You want me to pull a clarifier for this one? I mean, this
that's
might be
pretty fucking intense. That's like that's
it's
the tower.
super intense. Well, especially. All right, so we have it upright at least. Thank goodness. It's actually not. This is much like the death card. The tower is usually just seen like, oh god damn, the building gets struck down. There's people jumping. This is an opportunity to when things aren't working out, fucking kill it. Like you've tried something, and you must be able to recognize that it's not working, and start from scratch. Take it back down to the. Oh my god, I can't think of the word. The foundation.
Yeah.
Go back to the foundation. The tower is not a good or not a bad thing, because this means that you have the opportunity to rebuild. You want me to pull a clarifier on it?
Yeah, because still a lot of tarot card readers are like the tower is never good.
Nah, man, the tower's now when you have the tower reversed, that's a different story because that's when you're going to be repeating the steps, and you're going to like build it instead of like you're going to build on charred ruins. When you get the tower, it means that you have an opportunity to start all over. It is a dramatic change, but it really is a positive card. Just
so this is like saying something that you're really going to regret and alienating yourself from your community, from your neighborhood, from your Facebook group that you may be on. Alienating yourself from your potential spouse or one of your siblings, getting into an argument with your siblings, and that creates a whole breakdown in the relationship, and then you get a chance to go back and fix things later.
Yeah.
You don't got to clarify that if you don't want to.
I mean, I already pulled a card for it.
What was it?
I got the Seven of Wands reversed. Okay, so let's look at the Seven of Wands. This looks super chaotic, bad. Wands, obviously, Wands represents fire energy. Which I mean, tower. The tower is Mars. The tower is the Mars card. Like this is the Mars card. So if you want to relate it to astrology, so the Seven of Wands. The good thing about it upright is you have what you don't realize. You have the higher ground. Yes, you're like 6-1. But you have the higher ground, you have the advantage. Reversed, it shows confusion. You're not, maybe you do have the upper ground, but you don't realize it. You might be in a new situation. I'd say maybe in a new relationship, something comes up. if we're talking about relationship, this is when, okay, like your new partner says something that your old partner did, and now all of a sudden you're holding your new partner fucking hostage, but guilty of whatever your old partner did, regardless, because no two people are the same. This is especially in this with the Mercury, with the retrograde, with the Tower. This is when you fuck up because you're confused. You get shit confused. This thing's reversed. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time getting the damn camera here. Either way, you need to do something. Don't just sit there. You need to act.
Yeah.
So to bounce off of the Tower, things aren't working, right? You figure out things aren't working. Then we get our Seven of Swords that follow, or Seven of Wands that follows that. And instead of just sitting there fucking like just meddling over what went wrong, oh, well, I fucked that up, do something about it. Like, this is, when you get this, start and at least try to build a new foundation. Okay?
Absolutely.
Don't just sit there and fucking dwell on it. You have to like find that passion.
Yeah.
And you can't do it by sitting around. You gotta like put in the work.
So we're talking about a communication breakdown, and you're kind of like, well, what do I do with this? Do I go get a new phone, or do I throw it in rice?
Right. Well, maybe you had like, all right, maybe you had like the iPhone 5, and the iPhone X is out now, right?
I got the X.
You got the X, nice. I've got the 8. I got 8. I'm super happy with it. But I got the brand new iPad.
Oh, all right.
So instead of like, oh well, fuck, I broke my phone, so I'm gonna go around bitching at everybody because I broke my phone, and it's fucking Renee's fault because Renee was a fucking bitch to me that night because I got too drunk. And I can't
feel
get
like
hold
you
of
know somebody named Renee.
Huh?
I feel like you actually know somebody named Renee.
I know somebody Renee, but I did choose that name because I don't have any exes named Renee. So.
Well, I mean, that's just a random name. People say like, Sarah or Tina, but Renee's really like.
I know so many Sarahs. God. But so instead of like going around bitching that, okay, well, he did this because whatever, and I broke my phone. Well, just go get another fucking phone. Like, go to the pawn shop and get a cheap used phone, and at least you have a line of communication with people. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And then you don't have to spend all that big money on, because if you want to get the Google whatever or the Samsung, I mean, I'm an Apple guy, so you don't have to make your ultimate decision, but try to do something about it.
Yeah.
Something.
So now we got the 4th house. The house ruled by Cancer.
Whoop, whoop.
You got nothing going on in your 4th house.
I have no 4th house. I'm a Cancer with no 4th house. It's fucking pathetic.
Don't you get like your 4th house is like Sagittarius, I believe. My 4th house is Leo or Virgo if you use whole sign, but I don't pay that much attention to that. Well, I do, but okay. So the 4th house, this one also can bring about misunderstandings. This one can be a period of time where, because the 4th house has a lot to do with emotional security. It has a lot to do with the home and your family and where you came from. This could be a period of time where something happens that reminds you of past childhood traumas. It could be a period of time where something goes wrong with a family member, and it might not be something super serious, but it could. And with the Mercury retrograde, usually the situation subsides. Eventually, it doesn't something totally catastrophic unless you react to it in a very, like I said earlier, in a way that makes it worse. But this could be a period of time where you get to reevaluate, like, am I really, really happy with where with how things are in my personal life, in my private life? Because the 4th house is a very private place. It's the lowest part of the chart. It's the farthest beneath the sun. You could have domestic disputes. You could have, if you're in a really, really long-term relationship, you could have fights within the home. So it's just it's a little bit of emotional turmoil. It's not as much on the material realm as like the third house, second house, the eighth house, or the 11th house, but it could be one of those times that tries your patience a little bit and shakes you up a little bit emotionally. So let's pull for that. Let's see what's going on for Mercury retrograde through your fourth house.
How ironically, I pulled the Chariot reversed, which the Chariot is actually the Cancer card. So pulling this reversed, so the Chariot is a card of movement, okay? So when you imagine going on a trip, and this usually you can relate it to travel. When this comes up in a reading, it's a good time to take a vacation or travel. Things are, looking forward, job type situation. It would be something in transportation, flight. Now, reversed, this is obviously means it's not a good time to go on vacation. It's not you need to take your car to the fucking mechanic. Think about this as a car. You need to go to the mechanic. You need to make sure your fluids are changed and your tires are balanced. Your brake line's good. Your brakes are good. This is about getting all your ducks in a row. And this is all internal stuff. Sorry.
So taking care of yourself emotionally, making
this
sure
is very much introspective. This means that things in your life are moving really fast, and you're having a hard time keeping up. You're having a hard time keeping your head above water. And since it's in the fourth house, this is family. This is family. So maybe you just had a new kid. Maybe school just started. You gotta go get school supplies, and it's just you're waiting on that promotion. It's not coming in. You're having to pick up a second job. You have things going so fast that you're not taking care of yourself. You need to focus on yourself. This means that once you take you have to start taking care. You have really just have to take care of yourself. Make sure you don't act out of emotion. You want to act and not react. If that makes sense. Very much check your oil. Go see the doctor. Go get a checkup if you're around the age where you need to start getting a colonoscopy, get your colon cleansed out. Go get it done. Go get an STD check. Shit. I mean,
I think that'd be more of a fifth house. That'd be a fifth house thing. I'd be like, you might need to go get that, that clap taken care of real fast. But no, yeah, it's more about checking yourself emotionally, making sure that you're in a happy place. Don't go off and keep pushing yourself into, or allowing these new changes to take place around you without making sure that you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Because the home is where we're at peace. The home is where we find solace. The home is where we feel content. It's the domicile. So yeah, making sure that you're where you need to be, because there could be a little bit of issues related to your family or changes related to your family that you need to make sure that you're okay with and that it's affecting you in the right way so that you're not fucking up over it. So it's not fucking up your peace of mind.
Right.
Not fucking up your house, your time. It was good. I think that's pretty good. See, these cards are actually very playing really, really like we got a Pentacles card for the second house. It's good. It's playing out really well. All right, so the fifth house. Mercury retrograde in the fifth house. So the fifth house is about children. It's about romance. It's about love. It's about gambling, risk-taking, self-expression, creativity. This one can come through in a litany of ways. I think, honestly, it could be anything from an STD to your children getting in trouble at school and having some issues related to your children, or having your child all of a sudden start bucking up to you and that creating a little bit of an issue. It could be you losing a lot more money than you intended to lose when you went on, when you go on that gambling trip to Le Bears du Lac in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I mean, or to Vegas. It could mean a litany of different things, honestly. I think it depends on the individual. If you're somebody who doesn't really live too much in the fast lane and you're all about your children, it's probably going to come from the area of your children. This is one of the houses that Mercury retrograde could have an ex coming back to you. with the promise of love, with the promise of romance. That is one of those houses where the whole, stigma of your ex is coming back definitely can come into play full force. So, what's going on?
Well, this is looking really good. I mean, this is looking really good, especially if you're gambling. I got the 3 of Cups. This is celebration, success. It's almost as if like you've been kind of down and out, and you're raising your head up out of that, which would be something opposite when you think in comparison to Mercury retrograde, but it's looking positive. I mean, this is the card of celebration.
Well, I mean, yeah, and also it's a cup card, so it's emotionally related. So that could be
emotionally, you are in a good fucking place. Like this means like you're celebrating because something's made you happy. This is a card of joy.
It could be an ex that you wanted to come back that comes back.
I was getting to that. You beat me to it. But yeah, like I mean, yeah, that was literally what I was about to say, asshole. No, but like that, the one that the one that got away. Like I feel like this is the one that got away type situation. And also, I'll bring up that 3, like if you're in a relationship and you're not necessarily happy in this relationship, and an ex gives you a call, I think this is your opportunity.
Or it could possibly be one of those oops babies.
Shut the fuck up.
That you actually wanted
Oops,
because you're trying to get pregnant for so long.
Well, that's not. If you want it, it's not oops. I mean.
Well, it's an oops if you didn't expect it.
I mean.
It's like oops.
If you're fucking and you're not using a condom, you should be expecting it. That's.
Some people have been trying that for years, and it just ain't happening. But they're having the fun of trying. So.
Yeah, I don't know if they're teaching. I don't know what the fuck they're teaching the kids these days if they don't know that if you have sex without a condom and you ejaculate inside of a female, then. That's
how that works?
Yeah.
I thought you just pee on her.
They got goddamn ovulating calculators on their on like apps on the phone now.
That's why I haven't been able to have kids just yet. I thought all I had to do was pee on her. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, that's a pretty good one. So we're looking at happy. We're looking at.
Tried to hold that back. So.
We're looking at happy accidents.
This is now the golden shower card.
Yeah, this seems like the card of happy accidents. Honestly.
Happy accidents.
And in the 5th house, it's the best place to have happy accident. Accidental babies, accidental lottery winnings, accidental
Except for STDs, those aren't.
That fluke at the gambling table where you're playing blackjack and you go all in when you probably shouldn't, and it actually works out.
And then if you're in Vegas, you got the 3 hookers that just show up and be like, "Hey, you want to have a foursome?"
Well, that might not turn out to be a happy accident because a couple of weeks down the road, when Mercury's about to station direct and go into Leo, and all of a sudden you're burning while you're peeing, and
what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for herpes. That shit travels outside of Vegas.
And gonorrhea for a few weeks.
Well, yeah.
All right, so the 6th house. The 6th house kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's where my moon is. Thanks.
No, if you go by whole sign, it's in your 7th house, actually. No, your fucking moon's in your 7th house, dude.
No, it's in my 6th house, bro.
7.
It's 27 degrees.
You know what? Oh shit, I've had this on screen share the whole time. That sucks.
Is that not good?
It's not ideal, but I don't care. All right, so we're on to the 6th house. So when we're talking about the 6th house, we're going to be talking about possible health issues. We're going to be talking about possible issues at work, getting thrown extra duties you weren't expecting if you were getting thrown extra duties that you weren't expecting, or having changes at work that you might not feel totally comfortable with. Like a change in regulations at your job that requires you to do a lot more work. Like let's say for instance, you're working as a kitchen manager, getting thrown like extra sanitation codes that are just making your life a living hell that you weren't expecting, and then all of a sudden they, you know, brief you at the beginning of your shift, and you're like, "Fuck, we got to do all this extra shit from now on." That kind of thing. Or it could be something as simple as you twisting your ankle when you're, you know, walking down the front steps at work. Or it could be one of your pets getting sick. That's big.
Ooh, that's not gonna happen. Better not fucking happen.
I hope not.
I will put the motherfucker down quick. No, that's not true. I fucking love my goddamn dogs.
You know what? I'm gonna settle this real quick, just because I know charts. I'm really good at keeping track of charts. I'm putting it in here. Bradley, I'm pulling your chart up. Can I do that?
Go for it.
I guarantee you, I swear to God, your moon is in the 7th house. I swear to God it is.
Just pass it. There you
go. Okay, what the fuck ever. It's like right by the descendant.
Exactly.
That's close enough. And if you go by whole sign, it is in the 7th. All right, anyway.
Oh, are we doing that now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's close enough to the descendant, or it could be conjunct the descendant. It's only a couple degrees off.
Yeah. I live conjunct my moon conjunct Pisces moon conjunct descendant.
You act like it, yeah. Mr. Codependency. All right, pull a card. Hey, that's my.
I already pulled one.
I have. Okay. Two swords.
This is a lot easier than that screenshot. This is a lot easier because I know where my damn computer or my All right.
You said you looked at your face the whole time. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I try to look at your like little pin-sized face.
See, one day we'll have a studio. This won't even be an issue. All right. So.
Oh yeah. All right. So I got the 2 of Swords reversed. So upright. This is one of my favorite cards actually. I call this one my samurai card. Because the samurais did use 2 swords, are known for using 2 swords. You notice the woman's blind. She's got the sea behind her. It's nice and calm. She's got the 2 swords balanced. She's blindfolded. This is about, the 2s are always duality and balance. Now, here we go in reverse. Let me see how I could do this. Related to this. This is usually when some kind of deceit or backstabbery is going, like backstabbery. I don't even know if that's a fucking word. It's like when you know something's good, like you know that your partner's fucking cheating on you, like you know it, And even if you have you have some text messages or some people have told you, hey, you know what? I saw him banging this chick out in the parking lot. But you know them well enough to know their patterns of behaviors. Maybe they've done it before, but they're just not willing to admit it. And they're so good at getting away with it. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, but how does that relate to the 6th house, though?
I'm trying to figure that out.
You might need to clarify that, dude.
Okay. So go explain the 6th house. Tell me how we're looking at the 6th house again. I'm going to pull a clarifier. I want to make sure because I'm just trying to see how.
The 6th house is about health. It's about
health.
Your day-to-day routine. It's about pets. It's about your day-to-day responsibilities. It's about just all the bullshit that you got to do from day to day to day. It's a really important part of life. We all engage in it. It's the most, people consider it a negative house, but it's, one of the building blocks of life.
All right. Reverse something. Say if you're sick and you're not willing to do anything about it, maybe. Okay. You don't want to go to the doctor. You don't believe in the doctors, or maybe you're an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, you got a health problem and you just ain't been dealing with it.
And you refuse to, if you're not doing anything about it, if you're not even researching, like you just got a cough, I went ahead and pulled a clarifier. And this is a little bit more easy. more easier to read. I need to get my speak talk under control. I pulled the King of Cups reverse. This is like, so health-wise, I mean, even health-wise, I feel like you're emotionally attached. Like, this is definitely emotionally attached to something. Okay, now that I think about it this way. So swords is thought. You're stuck in a thought that's like, you think you're fine. Maybe you're fatigued. You're working 2 jobs. You're not getting enough sleep. And you start taking like coke or meth to fucking get through. You're going to school full time.
You're dealing with unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Exactly. And since you're showing up to work and you're showing up to school, in your mind you don't see the issue. You're not getting enough food. You're not getting enough rest. People around you notice that you're fatigued, that your eyes are sunken in. This is like refusing to see a situation for what it is, especially with the King of Cups. This is like your emotions are invested. This is usually indicative of an old, like somebody that's got an influence over you. So like an older figure, doesn't necessarily have to be a male, but.
All right, so I feel like I know how to wrap this all together. This is more about tunnel vision. This is more about like you being emotionally attached to your responsibilities, and it's causing a situation where you're letting your health decline because you are fixated so much on some sort of goal or some sort of obligation. And Mercury retrograde can bring up periods or situations where all of a sudden it's like, look, dude, you need to pay attention to your health. Like your breath stinks. You haven't been brushing your teeth. You've been you've been rushing out the door too much in the morning. You haven't been taking care of those little things that make a fucking difference. You haven't been showering enough because you've been too busy all the time. You've got some, gastrointestinal issue that you haven't been paying attention to. Your diet's been affected because you're eating fast food all the time because you're always on the go. It's basically like a look.
There you go. Like that's perfect. Yeah. And it's a way of thinking that absolutely with the King of Cups reversed and the Two of Swords is like your thinking's off.
Yeah.
Look, you're emotionally attached. Good job. You hadn't been doing tarot that long?
Got to wrap it all together and put it in a package, homie.
That was good, though. Hell yeah, Can you come do more of my readings with me? Because sometimes, Jesus.
All right,
I'll get this eventually.
This one's going to be a big one. I actually had Mercury retrograde go through my 7th house last year, and there was breakdowns in my relationships, my potential relationships. This is the one where like X is coming back and stuff like that, along with the 5th house, but the 10th house too, the 8th house as well, but we'll get into that. But the 7th house is your relationships with other people. It's also business partnerships. This is the monkey wrench getting thrown in to your partnerships and your relations with other people of all kinds. This could be a miscommunication between an important business partner. This could be an issue cropping up between you and your significant other, or it could be somebody coming up out of the blue going like, hey, you want to, get it in one last time, see if we still feel anything for each other? Yeah? No.
Matter of fact, I do.
So this is a big one. The 7th is an angular house. It's really important. It has a lot to do with what we project onto other people. And let's pull some cards to figure out what's going on with that. If you have Mercury retrograde passing through your 7th house, Bradley's got a card for you.
7th house, I've got the Hanged Man.
Oh, goody.
12. I really like this. Is a really good card. So if that X does call, this is where you're stuck in a situation like that. Maybe this is the X that you've been wanting to call back, right?
Yeah.
Don't answer that fucking phone. It's time to make a new start. Like Hangman, surrender. Like give up on it. Like just take a rest. Lay it to bed.
What if you're already in a relationship?
And the X calls?
No, well, okay. That is one thing.
If you're already in a relationship, if you're trying to make it work, then you need to take a different approach. This is just something new. I mean, the Hangman comes before death, so death is coming if you continue this path. If you want to or like death of the situation of the cycle is going to happen. If you want that to continue and you don't want it to die off, that situation, then you it kind of goes back to the other one that we pulled for, what was it, second house. But this is, you need to just you need to try something new. Or what, we pulled the tower, right? For
the third house.
The third house. Okay. So this isn't like, this is just completely new direction. I mean, you need to just make a clean, like whatever you're doing, stop right there.
Absolutely.
Stop right there, but don't rush into anything. You just need to stop what you're doing. And especially if it's an ex, let that shit go. Don't even open it up to show red.
See, that's hard to do for so many people, unfortunately. But that's basically like, if the ex comes back, you're making a big mistake if you entertain it.
Mm-hmm. I would say, like, this is focus on yourself. Like, this really has a lot to do with self. What can you do differently? Not like
dependency issues.
Not like a teamwork thing, like where we would kind of see in the third house situation where let's try some new stuff together. This is like, what do I need to fucking do different? Like, what I'm doing ain't fucking working. I need to stop what I'm doing and give up what I'm doing. And I'm gonna throw my Hangman card on the ground because that's how I feel about it. But I actually really like this card. Pretty cool card.
Well, if you're already in a relationship and you're having issues with your significant other, potentially, because Mercury retrograde in the 7th house can spark arguments, it can spark disagreements, it can spark just situations between two people, not necessarily at an emotional level, but it can be at a material level as well. Misunderstandings. It's basically like, what do I need to let go of to make this partnership work? Or if the ex comes back, you need to just not even entertain it, because it's going to cause issues.
Since he's upside down, this would be like definitely putting your foot in their shoe, like stepping into their shoes.
Yeah.
Turn it around. Turn that shit around.
All right, so 7th house was covered. That one's pretty cut and dry. Didn't even need to clarify that. Now we got the 8th house. The 8th house, not a great place to have Mercury retrograde. The 8th house is the house of death, rebirth, transformation, debts, taxes, loans. So this could, well, the thing is tax season just ended, and the 8th
house, I got my fucking tax return money.
That could be a thing. In fact, thank you for bringing that up, because issues related to your tax returns could be a thing that crops up in Mercury retrograde. That's delays. That could be issues related to your partner's finances, because that's about shared resources as well. So that is something that happens to another human being that indirectly affects you. That could be there. This is also one of the potential of an ex calling back, especially if it was one that you had a very, very close connection with. Even more importantly, the 7th house. Really deep emotional attachment is very much implied by the 8th house. So this one's kind of intense. This is an intense place to have Mercury retrograde going through. Well, luckily, I'm not going to have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn for a while, so I don't got to deal with all of that bullshit. But yeah, so what do we got going on for people with Mercury retrograde transiting their 8th house?
Okay, 8th house. This is about movement.
That's the 6 of Swords?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. This is the 6 of Swords. Air. So, movement. This is absolutely about movement. You've been through some suffering, but you've escaped it. Okay. Now this is time to escape, and this is when you would like take one of those journeys like where you don't know anybody. Go to another place. Like you need to go to another place where you don't know anybody, and this is a total new way of thinking. And this is when and this is a positive. This is super positive because if you notice, it's a mother and her child in the boat, and they've got the swords in front of the boat, so there's protection. They're going into calm waters. The waters are a little rougher where they're coming from, and you've got a boatman that's doing all the work for you right now. So you're just relax. If you're in a relationship, things are going bad. I feel like this would be, things are going bad and you've just kind of not moved on because you're just not comfortable in the situation, but you've been in there long enough. You're just you're used to it. You've become complacent to the situation. But moving on and anything else is better than continuing the toxic shit that's going on. Starting over. This is all about starting over.
Well, that's the good thing about the eighth house. It fits really well with the narrative that's implied by that particular house. For instance, the North Node in the eighth house, which I have. A whole big lesson about it is to let go of attachments and to let go of past issues and, basically past attachments so that you can move forward to something better and you can transform. So this is more about, let's say that tax return. Shit's coming up with that tax return. It's been getting delayed for a while. You really need that money. You've been borrowing money because you have that tax return coming and you know that you're going to be able to pay that money back. So having being able to let go from the absolute visceral need to get that money is going to really serve you. And if you have any setbacks, you can either add fuel to the fire of freaking out over those types of things, or you can just let back, relax, let it go. It's going to be okay. Just stop freaking out.
Yeah.
I know you got debts. Eighth house has to do with a lot of debts.
Death and taxes.
Exactly. If you are dealing with a past relationship and you sorely want them to come back, look, you're in a place now where you can heal. If they come back, it's just going to bring the pain back. It's going to bring the obsession back. So this is sort of like the seventh house too. And it's funny that they really do coincide with these poles. It's basically about just chilling out. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
And
I will say this about death. The mother and she only has her child. They have no possessions except for the clothes that are on their back. When you die, consider this as like the boat of Tehran, going through the river Styx. It's you don't need anything. You take nothing with you into the next world. You take nothing with you out of this. And you came with nothing into it.
Bueno. All right, so the ninth house. The ninth house is going to be all about philosophy. Well, I don't think that would really... See, I could see things happening that cause an existential crisis, like questioning God, or it could be mishaps while you're traveling. It could be mishaps while you're traveling physically, or it could be mishaps while you're, making journeys of the mind. Coming across some information that challenges things that you've already held to be true, or it could be issues if you're really into traditional religion, issues with your congregation or issues with your spiritual or religious group popping up that challenges your beliefs or makes you sort of not want to believe in what you thought you believed in for a while. And that can be a big deal for some people. It's a big deal for me whenever I've had existential crisis before and I've challenged my entire opinion of the world. Issues while traveling abroad issues while traveling, period, just long distance travel. So for some people, traveling to the next town's long distance. So just issues related to that, let's say your car breaks down while you're in a foreign state, or let's say you have issues with your finances while you're abroad. That could be a problem, or while you're traveling. It's just issues related to movement, issues related to your beliefs, and issues related to your perceptions of the world. I would say that it's a rather benign place to have Mercury retrograde transiting, But nonetheless, it's still relatively important. It's still relatively annoying, especially. It can be panic inducing if you're far from home. So what kind of issues are we going to see popping up for these people?
Okay, so I got the King of Wands reversed. Wands is, again, is fire.
Was that like erectile dysfunction type energy?
I mean, this is the King of Cock right here.
It is.
It really is. This usually indicates like some kind of like it indicates setback in business or like creativity. So let's take, for example, like a church. If in a church, if a priest were to pull this, his congregation, or like a project to raise fund, like a fundraiser, something's going to happen. Maybe, they're doing the trunk or treat outside the church for Halloween, to raise funds for starving kids down in Africa or something, and a storm comes through, so they don't get any of that money for that fundraiser. If that makes sense. So there's gonna be some kind of delay that you really have no control over, and there's gonna be people with in their desire, their inspiration. I mean, the fire with them is gonna be tested, if you will. The people in your organization. I mean, I see it as like organizations, like my MC. I would relate it to this house as well. My motorcycle club. We're all we have the same kind of philosophy, I guess, in a way of living. So like something's gonna come up. Maybe one of the bros goes down. We're on a club ride and somebody pulls out in the pack and some cars go down. But the thing is with this is when there's somebody else involved, you're gonna get some support. So maybe an ex. I'd say if an ex is trying to reach out to you, they might just be calling because you came across their mind and they're concerned about how you're doing. If I'm relating it to that.
Potentially.
Or
having to reach out to an ex because of some issue that you're dealing with. Because, it's always a two-way street. The exes aren't always coming to you. A lot of times in Mercury retrograde, you reach back out to the ex.
That is true. I mean, it could definitely go both ways. For sure. This is like I don't see anybody going out of their way to help you, but they will help you if they can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you'll get help. The help will be there. It's just not gonna be, hey, let me help you. Like, you're gonna have to ask for help. Maybe you should reach out to an ex and be like, you know what? I need some closure on this. This might be the time to get some closure.
And that in many ways can change your viewpoint on life a lot. I mean, some people, their relationships have a big impact on the way they feel about things and the way they feel about, life.
Yeah.
So basically, any type of existential crisis, any type of issue related to travel, basically, you're going to get help.
Yeah. You will get the help. It's not going to be anybody going out of their way to help you. You'll have to seek it, or when it presents itself, take that help. Because some people will be like, oh, don't be too fucking proud. Like, don't let their pride get ahead of them. So,
bueno.
I think actually, now that I say that, don't let your pride get the best of you.
Especially if you're trying to seek understanding of the way you view the world, or your philosophies, or your view on religion. Don't be afraid to ask somebody. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you're, dealing with some issue while you're traveling, or if you're dealing with some issue within your church or within your spiritual community. Reach out. Talk. Yep. Don't just get up on your holier-than-thou high horse off of some new belief that you formulated, or else it's going to cause an issue.
Absolutely.
Bueno. So now we've got the 10th house. The 10th house is your career, it is your reputation, it is your interactions with the broader world, it is your life direction. It is a really fucking important house. Super important house. It is ruled by Capricorn, and if your Mercury retrograde is transiting your 10th house, we are looking at an issue with your boss popping up, an argument in the workplace with your superior, anybody of authority. It could be something happening that embarrasses you in public or embarrasses you in the private eye, embarrasses you at work, messes with your reputation. It could be a promotion that goes to somebody else unexpectedly that you were hoping were going to go to you. It could be, God, so many things. And in fact, I know somebody I just did a consultation for who's actually really worried about the eclipses, and I think she should be more worried about Mercury retrograde in her 10th house because she's so Capricorn heavy. Because that's actually what's about to go down for her. It could be a litany of different things. It could be you just, having a couple things pop up, a couple minor inconveniences at work that challenge, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I putting all my effort into something that's really worth it? I think the biggest thing is possibly like something happening in a public way that embarrasses the shit out of you and threatens to mess with your reputations. Like, so some outburst on social media that your boss could see. It's not nice, but we'll check out the cards and we'll see what's going down with this.
I mean, you already pretty much explained what card I pulled. I got the Two of Pentacles reversed. This is, you're most likely when you get this, you're not financially, like, you're having problems financially. There's no balance. Two is balance, duality. So, we're not experiencing, you're unbalanced. When you have it reversed, you see, like, I mean, already when it's upright, like, you see the rough fucking waters back there. But at least you're on top. It's behind you, and you're working on the balance, right? When it's reversed, that's fucking flooding over you. That's about to crash. This is not the right time to make a change. If something's, especially like if you're having a discrepancy with your boss, don't think that you're going to rally the troops and fucking go round, and go to HR and get them pulled. Keep your damn mouth. Keep your fucking mouth shut and wait for a better time. This is not the time, especially when finances are concerned. You need to wait.
And that's the thing.
Not there.
That's the thing I should have mentioned earlier. I really should have mentioned this earlier on. The thing about this particular Mercury retrograde is not only is it happening right around two eclipses, but it's also happening, and it starts at the very tip top of Leo, and then it goes back into Cancer, and it makes an opposition to both Pluto and Saturn. And Saturn is authority figures, and then Pluto is just intensity and intense communication. And Saturn is structures. It's the banking system. Saturn is your boss. Saturn is anybody in authority. And Mercury retrograde in the 10th house is particularly potent because you're dealing with potentially a confrontation with somebody in the workplace of higher authority than you. And so you really, really, really need to learn when to pull your punches, because anything that happens in a way that's noticeable to everybody around you could be really detrimental to the future of your career.
Yeah,
be serious.
Yeah, I feel this, like, if you get upset with like, maybe your boss critiques you or something, you don't like it, and then you go bitch off to Sally, Sue, and Raphael, and one of those motherfuckers, both of y'all are trying to get this, or all of y'all are trying to get the same promotion. Well, one of them motherfuckers is going to go to the boss and be like, hey, did you know that Bradley was fucking talking shit, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. That's what kind of shit comes out of this.
And then on down the road, when promotion time comes up, they're trying to figure out what position to put you in. He's going to remember, so-and-so does not like authority. So-and-so does not enjoy working with superiors.
Yep.
As one of them things. I had Mercury go retrograde in my 10th house, actually, last time when it was in Pisces. And The opposition to Saturn and Pluto wasn't in play, thank God. But it was absolutely a nightmare for me. Like, it was one of the more difficult times. Of course, Neptune was involved. We also had, Jupiter making that square to it, so everything was blown out of proportion. But where I was going to end up going, my decisions, like, I was getting ready to move to Colombia, like, and then everything all of a sudden, like, things that were outside of my control came to conspire to prevent that from coming to fruition. And I was just like, well, fuck. It was a little bit more. It started as a minor inconvenience, but my reaction to the situation sealed the, inevitability of the whole thing coming to a complete close. So a lot, like I was saying earlier, Mercury retrograde creates issues, but it's how you respond to those issues that really makes or breaks the effect of it on your life as a whole. So, all right, so now we have got the 11th house. That one sucks. The 11th house sucks, Mercury retrograde, because it can manifest in small, manageable ways, or it can manifest in ways that are really, really painful emotionally, because the 11th house has to do with friends, it has to do with groups, but more than anything, it has to do with your hopes and dreams. And that can be some of the most difficult things for someone to deal with, because situations cropping up that seem like for instance, let's say you dream of getting a particular job in a particular field, and there's certifications in that particular field that you would like to go get. Well, Mercury retrograde could easily bring up something where that prevents you, at least temporarily, from getting that certification that would allow you to work the job that you want to work, to do what you want to do, like some kind of regulation, something that disqualifies you potentially, and that could pop up and absolutely cause a complete freak out and a complete, moralizing or demoralizing effect. Or on top of that, you could get into quarrels in your social group. You could have falling outs with your friends potentially, if they're only temporary. This is another one that can spark arguments, like in the third house. Ideological differences, realizing that the people that you thought you were on the same page with, y'all really aren't, and the way that y'all view the world and the dreams for the future and society's, your view of how society will one day be. So it's not a fun house to have Mercury retrograde, to say the least. It has its own list of challenges. It's not really as much relationship based in terms of like intimate relationships, but your relationships to your community and to people as a whole and your friendships can be very affected. And your relationship to your views of the future, how your life's going to be and what you need to be working towards, could be very adversely affected. As long as you don't overreact, though, you might come to realize that the issues you're coming up against are only, in fact, transient. So that was kind of long-winded.
It was really good, though, and
thank you.
And it really builds up for the Hermit. We'll pull the Hermit here, which is
fuck all your friends. I don't need anybody.
It's almost ironic, right, when we're talking about friends and family. But this is when you need to, and I've been really, like, I find myself in hermit mode, like I'm in the path of the tarot. I guess the Hermit is very, very important card in my life right now, because this isn't just about like drawing within yourself and excluding everybody else from the world, but this Absolutely. Is about connecting to those people. Finding that one guide. They're like recognizing the light. The Hermit holds the light. The Hermit's waiting for you. The Hermit is waiting for you to take you on your journey to this introspective wisdom. So when we're looking at a retrograde, when it comes to family and friends, you need to find that person that's looking out for you. And by doing so, you have to have your good intentions in mind. Instead of being like, oh, well, these guys want to go, let's go out and get drunk and, that's how we're going to handle shit. No, like, hey, you know what? Maybe have you gone on a hike in a while? This is going to be like, this is where you can build a close relationship with somebody, because you might be going through the same shit together. And this is about connecting And when you find a connection with somebody that we have living spirit guides in our life, and sometimes they come into our life for a day or 2 days, and that's it. We don't ever fucking see them again. But like, this is a connection that will connect you to yourself. It's finding somebody on that same vibrational frequency as you are.
Absolutely.
So be aware. Absolutely be aware of who you are surrounding yourself with, and also be careful of people who will be disguised as somebody who's trying to show you the light, as opposed to somebody who's trying to take your light. Because there's people that will show you your light, like, here's your light, and there's other people who are like, hey, where's your light at? Let's find your light so I can take that bitch. So be very cautious. Be very, very cautious, because there's going to be some people. I mean, somebody will bring. I have a feeling that whoever is in your fucking circle,
you got the bad seeds.
Is somebody's been a shitty friend, or like you've got a group of shitty friends, and one person is going to bring that to light.
Well, that's very interesting. So you basically, like, keep a lookout for bad seeds in your social circle. This is a good time to understand. So this could be a period of time where you realize somebody's been talking bad about you, or somebody's been acting against your best wishes, even if they didn't mean to. Like, not necessarily they're being your enemy, but...
Right. Well, and somebody may just be exploiting you. Like, say you're it. I mean, oh, geez. I got to be careful what I say here. Just say, all right, let's take a business, for example. Okay?
Is it Mercury going through your 11th house right now, Bradley? Who's been exploiting?
Huh?
Who's been exploiting you, Bradley?
Oh, nobody better be fucking exploiting me. All you gotta do is ask for my help. I got you.
When I sell your nude photographs online for a major killing, we'll see who is exploiting who.
I gotta stop giving those away for free then.
I know. Well, they're so easy to get a hold of these days. Like, your nudes are flooding the internet right now, dog. You don't even know it. Reddit's fucking full of them.
When you got, say you're in like a small business, right? Somebody's using you for your business connections, like your network. Somebody's using you for your network. They're kind of new in the business, or they've moved to the area, and they're taking your ideas and developing them under the premise that it's for like the whole team, but then they're selling your ideas to an outside source or something, and they're going to take all the credit for it. So Be careful, like, seriously, like, really be careful for those. And somebody will point that out to you. Listen to them. This is when it does come to light. So this is actually a really good, this is a positive thing, really.
Well, yeah, because you get to understand, because it can get really easy to get lost in your social circle when you're dealing with so many people that you don't really see who is who, because they're just, you're dealing with 4 or 5 or 6 people on a day-to-day basis, and you're not paying attention to exactly what everybody's intentions are. You're just lost in it.
Yeah.
So this is the time to pay attention. But I have a feeling with the type of things that Mercury retrograde usually brings to the foray, you will have things that will direct your attention. You'll understand. It'll be something to understand. All right, so let's talk about the 12th house. So if you have a Leo rising, then Mercury will be transiting through your 12th house. This one's kind of weird. It's also the last sign. We made it through the marathon.
Fishy.
So if you have issues, so it is a water house. It is part of the emotional triplicity. And if you have emotional issues, you have personality issues, these issues can crop themselves back up during Mercury retrograde. All of a sudden, if you made a lot of progress on yourself in attaining, self-awareness and understanding any type of emotional issues you may have, dealing with bipolar disorder or borderline or anxiety issues, this could be a period of time where you backtrack. And sort of like the 6th house, you can really find yourself getting back into unhealthy coping mechanisms. This one is not as much of an in-your-face type things with Mercury retrograde that you have to deal with. There are things that are happening subtly within you, and little situations here and there, little triggers coming at you here or there, and they sort of cause you to backtrack into an unhealthy place. And so you have to be really careful with this one because the 12th house is the part of your personality that you don't notice all the time. You don't deal with it all the time. You don't. It's the part of you that you're most blind to. So you already pulled a card, didn't you?
I pulled the Ace of Cups.
That seems like crying to me.
You think?
Crying it out, letting it all out.
I mean,
that's a good card.
Such a beautiful card. This is like this really, especially in 12th house, this is something you really want to fucking see. Because like you mentioned bipolar and stuff, I really relate like PTSD.
Yeah.
To 12th house, like this is traumas being, it's almost like could like see first house is like where you've hidden all this like old trauma stuff, and then like when you get to 12th house, it's time to fucking face the shit. Like it comes up. Does that make sense?
Well, it's where a lot of your trauma goes to hide.
Exactly. And, the wheel comes around. So emotionally, this is when you have to deal with it. Ace of Cups, this is all about emotions, but this is also about new beginnings. This is when a new relationship. This is like when a new relationship comes into play, and this is when you start feeling those feelings that you haven't felt before, or you didn't know you could feel again. In this case, I would say, 12th house, definitely it's something you didn't know that you could feel again. It's going to bring up old emotions in a new way. When it comes to exes are exes for reasons. This is absolutely avoid the exes. Stay away from anything old, anything that you've had to put to rest. You need to leave it the fuck at rest. Because something new, it might not come during the retrograde, but when you get through this retrograde, it's going to be waiting for you.
That's good.
The cup overfloweth. But
that's pretty awesome. So it's basically because I could see the possibility of getting triggered by something new and you having to sort of work yourself through it. And it's difficult with the 12th house. I always equated the 12th house to like dealing with the 12th house is like swimming in a pool full of honey. Like you can swim in it. You can try to get through it. We got In-N-Out Burger here, dog. We don't deal with that.
Whataburger. It's not even Whataburger no more. It's fucking Chicago owned. So.
Yeah. Well, I still love Whataburger. They don't really have a whole lot of them out here. We've got In-N-Out. I like In-N-Out too, though. So I don't really get into the whole. Anyway, the whole.
Avondale's the last Whataburger you get to on the way over there. Trust me, I know.
Huh? Which one?
Avondale, Arizona, outside of Phoenix, is the last Whataburger going west.
Yeah, I like Whataburger a lot. I grew up with it. Houston and Corpus Christi is actually where it started, but Houston's like an epicenter of Whataburger, and it is amazing. It's expensive.
Get back to the 12th house.
You can find Whataburger in my 12th house. Thank you. It's my hidden addiction.
Mwah.
Anyway, so yeah, things could pop up and crop up that you don't want to fucking deal with, but like I said, the prize is at the end of the long, difficult road. And like I said, the 12th house, dealing with the 12th house is like swimming in a pool full of honey. You're trying, you can swim, but eventually it's just, there's so much resistance, you're going to wear yourself out. And eventually you got to just let go and eat some of that honey. Giggity. So yeah, that's actually a really positive one. So thank God, because 12th house is a difficult house, and Mercury retrograde in that house could be really, really, really hard to deal with. But overall, this is something that's going to be really positive. And at the same time, we have an eclipse going on in the 12th house for people who are experiencing this particular transit. So this is the unlocking of, because the eclipse the solar eclipse happened right before Mercury retrograde began. So we are getting like the unlocking of past traumas and you getting the chance to deal with it and finally release it.
Deal with this. Yes, deal with it.
Deal with it. Deal with it, love it, kiss it, make love to it, fuck it, even if you want to.
If it's an ex-girlfriend, take this advice right here. Okay? If the ex calls, or ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever, just fucking ignore that shit, block it, put on Fleetwood Mac's Rumors album.
Oh, God.
Listen from start to finish, and you'll cry it all out, and you'll get all those tears that you've been fucking blocking. Let it out. And at the end of it, you'll be able to feel those things that you fucking blocked yourself. See, this is you. This is you, the dove, lifting the cup, lifting the lid off of that fucking cup and letting your emotions fucking be free again. I love this card. Like, I really do, especially in the 12th house, because 12th house, man, that's trauma, bro. That's hard. That's hard stuff. So I love seeing the Ace of Cups for the 12th housers, but don't fall back into old patterns.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that rounds off all the 12 houses and Mercury retrograde and its transit through those houses. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I will be posting information down at the bottom so that you can contact BadBoy Tarot as well as AT Astro, of course, for a private reading or consultation. And it's been phenomenal working with you once again. And I look forward to many more collaborations to come. As we were discussing earlier, the time difference has actually made it easier for our schedules to line up. Who would have fucking knew? So
you're making moves that are helping the both of us out, so I appreciate that.
I hope so. God.
I'll get this goddamn ankle monitor off one of these days, and I might just fucking bunk up with you guys in California.
Oh, I don't have to start flying your ass out here so we can start, we can drink whiskey and just, talk about fucking bullshit right in front of each other instead of having to do the Skype shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Till next time, guys, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me with you. Let's not wait so long till next time.
Absolutely. And as always, I do have new content being posted as often as possible, usually daily. But till next time, guys. Peace.